and gents, how you doing? Here I am. Bosh. There we go. How are you? Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. It's the 19th of April. Huzzah! Wasn't that a good opener? I think they missed a few notes on that, although I'm not a musician, so I probably shouldn't criticise. I'm not. In fact, I don't think I have a musical note in my body. Who's in? No, I apologise, I wasn't on time. Christ, it's like my mother-in-law's berating me. I'm always fashionably late. Joe knows the crack. Ragnar's in, thanks for moderating as usual. Ams, Angry CFC, Trevor Harris, now then all the regulars are in. John Hunter, now then. Who else? Dave Parker, all right. Trevor Harris, and anyone else I have missed who's important. I'm kidding, you're all important. But this is 2025. Everyone's important. Surely you know that. Everyone's a special little snowflake. Aren't you sick of seeing people? Two things I'm sick of seeing people do is dancing and crying. I'm sick of it. All the time. I was in the gym the other day and there was an advert on for some very boring, ordinary product. Like it was a loan or something, like an app to get a loan. And it's just couples dancing all the time. I'm sick of seeing dancing. It started with all the football players, foreign football players, doing daft dances every time they scored a goal, didn't it? I blame the 90s for that. It started in the late 90s. Random foreign footballers doing stupid limbo dancing under the corner flag or some bollocks. I'm sick of watching it. Stop dancing. Dancing all the time. Dancing, you should be like, take skill and practice and talent. Like, you know, one of them really, really energetic things from Strictly Come Dancing or something. Shouldn't just be a bloke doing a daft little gyrating his hips slightly. Stew's in. I'm late for the first time. I'm flaccid now, but don't worry about it. Allow me to pull you back into a furore. Metaphorically pull, not, physically pull you back into the frenzy that is today's news. First things first, I thought we'd do this one. Man admits dangerous driving in police crash. First up, the Durham man. Apparently he's as Geordie as Jimmy Nail. Although Durham lads aren't classed as Geordies, are they? You have to forgive me. I'm a little bit ignorant of exactly where the line is because every now and then you'll talk to a Geordie and he's mega chippy. Like I told you about my mate Jimmy the Geordie who used to drink in my local in York, and he had this ridiculous you know how they are though, chippy Geordies have this thing in their head where they'll tell you what a Geordie is and you can't decide. I know Durham's actually quite far south of Newcastle. I think Durham's probably about almost exactly halfway from Borough and Newcastle in it. So definitely not a Geordie. But they tell you what a Geordie is. And it's like, if you're not from Biker, you're not a Geordie. You know, sort of like that thing Cockneys do, where they tell you you're not really a Cockney if you're not from, like, you can't hear the bells from the cathedral. Some gibberish. Anyway, without labouring the point, okay, this fella's not a Geordie, but he's almost there, isn't he? He's almost there. What's his name again? Maizaraya Azarbonyard. Practic. All right, so when you come on the Geordie scale, right, it's Gaza, and then it's Mayaza Azarbonyard Majanabad, and then it's Jimmy Nail. So, right, Gaza, Raoul Mort, Maya. Rowley. You remember Raoul? Bless him. He, when Gaza rocked up with some fried chicken and a fishing rod. That was a good one. Definitely could be worse. Definitely could be worse. Would I rather be a Scotsman than a monkey hanger? That's an hard question for a borough lad. It is indeed. I have no idea. I think let's see. How would I rank that one? Disabled Bangladeshi with a hair lip. Monkey hanger. Scotsman. I'm kidding. I'd rather be anything than the former. Right. So apparently he got the reason this story is of interest to me. I'll read you the whole thing, but the reason it's of interest to me is because I want to know what sentencing he's going to get. Because, like I said, we're living in this time where people get jailed for like 3 years for talking. I made that video about poor old Lucy Connolly, which just is a national scandal. It's a national scandal that that lady's in prison. I just don't understand. I don't think people are angry about it. They're not angry enough, at least. Anyway, so a personal trainer who caused a pile-up of police cars as he fled from them while taking a woman home from a date has admitted dangerous driving. 7 officers were injured and 5 police cars were damaged when he forced them to crash into each other on the A1 near the Newcastle and Gateshead border at 2:30 in the morning. Mazia Azaboyad from Stanley in County Durham, definitely from Stanley in County Durham, yeah, definitely from Stanley in County Durham, and not a third world shithole where everybody rattles the cousins. Definitely from County Durham. He admitted a series of driving offences when he appeared at Newcastle Magistrates Court. The 20-year-old also admitted driving again in the days after the crash, despite being given a ban. So, unbelievable. This is what I'm talking about. This is causing injury to police officers. In the old days, if you did anything even remotely akin to harming a police officer, you got sent down pronto, right? This wanker, strangely, didn't get remanded like Julie for typing things on Facebook. Didn't get locked up instantly like Mr. Mellier with his stickers. Ooh, stickers. You can't have stickers. He didn't get remanded. So a few days after he just caused absolute chaos in what is surely one of the biggest, most controversial police chases in the history of County Durham, he was out driving again. So 0 F's given by this little pot-bellied dwarf from a third world country. The court heard Azabonyad sped away from officers who tried to stop him in Swalwell after they noticed a defective rear light on his BMW. Look at all the carnage he caused. Jack Lovell said he tells me at this point it is immediate panic. He said his client had been aware of the fact he had no insurance and that the woman he was with had made reference to being in possession of drugs. Throw the book at him. 25 year, hard labour, 200 lashes from a 6'5" Bushido monk, and then salt mines for 12 years. Yeah, and then we'll let him go to a normal prison. Once he's mined 200 times his body weight in salt, we'll send him to an open prison. Well, once he's done that, he can identify as a woman, and we'll put him in with one of the other women that's, occasionally packing 7 or 8 inches when it's angry. He said his client had been aware that he had drugs on them as well. Mr. Lovell said he came to the UK. Oh, he's from... okay. Oh, weird. So he's definitely not from County Durham then. Isn't that strange? Why did they bury this halfway down the story? Why the hell does it say he's from County Durham when it says here he is from Iran? He was born and raised in Iran. I'm from Middlesbrough. Just because I live in California. Would anyone ever say the American? If I did this same thing, would it say American man goes on a rampage? Now, hey there, fellers, wait just a cotton picking minute. No, it wouldn't. It's ludicrous to even suggest it. This is bollocks. It's always bollocks. Louise Owen, send him the bill for the damage. Well, he won't pay, and they won't do anything about it, will they? Because he's a regular at Allen's, and they're good lads. Of course they are. Why do we import these people? What do we get out of it? What do we get out of taking a teenager from Iran? What? What's he done for us? Anything? Has he even mowed his neighbour's lawn once since he got here? The man is a reprobate. He's of no use to us at all. What they should do is remand him in custody, sentence him, And then the second he gets, in fact, no, why waste time feeding him in a British prison? Find him guilty, bundle him onto a plane, give him a parachute, and throw him out over Iran. Easy. I'll tell you what, we'll do you a solid. We'll find out what shit pit village you come from, and we'll throw you out within 50 kilometres of that. You can't say fairer than that, Mr. Abadonna Bonadonna Ding Dong. You can't say fairer than that, son. Not after you've cost us hundreds of thousands of pounds, been a drain on our society since you got here, and injured a load of policemen. So I love that. Unbelievable. Kane out. What? I'm astounded. Look, man. A man from Durham. From Stanley in County Durham. He's not from Stanley in County Durham, is he? You contradict yourself in your own story. But you only tell us halfway down because you're hoping most people just look at the headlines. And you're right. Most people do. You're not from Iran. You're from Maybod or Taft or whatever them weird little villages in Iran are called. Abaku, there's a good Iranian village. He's from Abaku or Shafshah. That's absolutely ridiculous. So he's not from Stanley. Christ, he didn't even come over as a child. He was a spotty teenager. If you're 16, that's where you're from. He's from Iran. Why lie in the third paragraph and contradict yourself in the 10th one? Oh, I know, because you're hoping people don't read this far. Definitely not. All right, let's just zoom in on that. Came to the UK from Iran, aged 15 or 16. Oh, he lied. And had no previous conviction. Oh, I like the way they're chucking him up there as if he's done well for himself there. How good's that? At least he had no previous convictions when he got here. Oh, at least he had no previous convictions when he was still a child. Christ on a bike. He wasn't even a grown man. He didn't have any previous... Maybe he'd been in the Borstal or something. But they wouldn't tell us that, would they? Unbelievable. So propaganda. The BBC, propaganda. Everyone knows it. Came to the UK from Iran. 16-year-old, little Iranian criminal scum. Deport. The serious collision involving 5 police vehicles and another car happened near the Denton roundabout. They said he eventually slowed down after being surrounded by police vehicles. Helicopter footage showed his vehicle was essentially at a stop when an unmarked police Volvo, which had earlier reached speeds of 135, hit them at about 80 miles an hour. It flips over and all the other police cars are involved. You've got to probably put some blame on the copper, right? Because if they were still employing useful coppers, he'd have seen it and slammed the anchors on. But it turns out the policeman who was driving, the roller lesbian that was driving has a prosthetic limb. Right hand's a prosthetic, so couldn't get to the gear stick on time. And that's what caused the crash. So a little bit of the incidents caused by the copper and the fact that the police don't hire real men anymore and are much more comfortable employing black disabled roller lesbians and people with arms for legs and legs for arms. So yeah, not entirely the Iranians' fault, but I digress. I am not trying any way to excuse that he shouldn't have been driving, as it is driving that led to the incident. He accepts that by way of his guilty plea. Yeah. So absolute bedlam caused by the Iranian. Oh, and he's self-employed. So he doesn't knout that, does he? Tell us what his job is. Have you noticed how they didn't say, oh, he's a self-employed bricklayer or he's a self-employed builder or whatever? No, it was just self-employed. So what's he doing? Selling drugs from his council house that we gave him and he's lived off his entire life. He's suckled off the state teat since he got here. This random foreign parasite who's now injuring police officers and causing hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of damage. Oh yeah, and doing drugs with the local girls. Giving the local girls drugs. Absolute bastion of morality, this chap, isn't he? Very foolish to get back behind the wheel. No, he's just a criminal. Not very foolish. He knew he was banned from driving. What a load of... Tell us he's got PTSD next. Go on. Magistrates were told he'd continue to drive on 4 further occasions, despite being told not to as part of his bail conditions. Drove without insurance, drove without a licence. Unbelievable. Spotted him on a garage forecourt and arrested him, blah, blah, blah. But no, look at this. Prosecutor said, one would have thought as a matter of common sense he would have been a bit more sensible, having been so lucky to get out of an accident only 2 days before. But no, you continue to stick 2 fingers up at the law. Azarbonyad of Iran. Oh, and he was granted conditional bail again. Fantastic. So, to sum up, if you tweet mean things, but you're a native, you go to prison straight away. If you type things on social media that Keir Starmer doesn't like, you go to prison straight away. If you write some politely worded stickers, you go to prison straight away. But if you're an Iranian drug dealer injuring police officers, causing chaos, and constantly breaking the law when you're out on bail, they definitely give you bail again. And he'll get a slap wrist. And he'll get sentenced on the 20th of May. And I guarantee he will get nothing like the same jail sentence that Miss Connolly did. And you know what else? Even though he moved to the UK when he was 16 years old, he won't get deported. Easy. Yeah, but he won't though. He must. There is no must to the absolute degenerates that run the UK. He can do what he likes. And he knows it. Yeah, I'd take him to the range. I'd use him for target practice. Honestly, absolute little rat of no use to society whatsoever. Couldn't give a Shiite, which he also could, coincidentally, probably is a Shiite. But he couldn't give a Shiite either. Although, you know what? I don't think they are they? I think in Iran, are they Sunni or Shia? Who cares? Different brands of toilet paper, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, that was good, wasn't it? Has anyone got any requests? I'll tell you what, instead of me just perusing the BBC, Pakistan expels. Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Every story. Unbelievable. We don't expel them, but the people they're related to will. Have I fallen into a parallel universe? Every story's gone completely ridiculous. Stu, I'm going to have to watch this back. I'm pissed and cooking. I hope everyone has a great Easter. Jesus is King. God bless. Have some absolute swamp water on me, Matt. He knows what I like. Cheers. Cheers, Stu. Yeah, it's a crazy time to be alive, isn't it, this? Mental. So, yeah. Tens of thousands of Afghans get thrown out of Pakistan because they're causing so much stew. Can you believe that? The neighbours, they're related to them. They share the same culture and language and love for the little fat pot-bellied dwarf and plagiarist who invented the fiction that they're all so fond of. Yeah, the little puke. Sorry, I'll have to. I was going to say something that'll possibly get me in bother, so I'll have to think of a different insult. Yes, they're getting thrown out because apparently they're not. They don't have enough in common. They just can't get on. Like the video I made in the week there about the Scots who slag off the English. Are you sure, lads? I have been amused by the Damascene conversion of the Irish as well, because the Irish used to have a massive chip on the shoulder about the English, didn't they? Now all of a sudden, Paddy McGuinty, the chippy Republican from Dublin, now he's sharing a pub with 25 Somalian blokes. He's like, I suppose Scousers are all right, aren't they? Got a lot of time for Scousers, me. Oh, got plenty of time for Scousers, so I do. So that's brilliant. Gerald Kelly used to live in San Luis Obispo. It's right near me, Slow. Ended up getting deported out there for a year. It's well nice. Central California's paradise. Slow's class. It's a university town. Good place to go boozing. Pilot later join the club, son. Join the club. We've both been there. Kenny likes me and he's a Scot. Well, as it again, I'm only taking the. That's how we bond, isn't it? As I've told I've got many Irish, Scottish, and Scouser followers. Again, I'm not a collectivist. When I'm having a crack, I only mean the 40 to 50% of your nations that are all bought and paid up, screaming socialist degenerates, right? Not a lot of you. So don't take it personally. So shall we read this? I mean, out of morbid curiosity, shall we read this? I'm sure it'll astound me. Pray tell us why you're expelling your brothers in your chosen Bronze Age fable. Tell us why you're expelling them. Look at that. Look at the irony as well. There's more women and kids getting it. Look at that. There's more women and kids in that photo than I've ever seen on a dinghy diver picture coming into the UK. Can you believe that? The poor little mates. The little girls could... I've got 10 times more time for little girls who won't Roger any British grannies than I have for these knobheads that we take in. That's unbelievable, isn't it? That is unreal. I'll tell you what, I'm going to prove it to you. If I type in boat migrants UK, even when Google and all of these media organisations are going to be scrubbing them, trying to make it look better. There we are. Look. If you type in boat migrants UK, what do you get? That's your bog standard. Boat migrants to the UK. Look at the difference. Look at the difference there. Hang on. Look at that. There's your bog standard. Boat migrants to the UK. That is unbelievable. And and the Puma trackies are throwing out women and kids. Let's count them. I'll do it. Starting from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 hairy ass shifty blokes. One there with a baseball cap on. He looks like a proper little stabby chav, right? Massive boat full of hairy ass geezers. And what have we got? What have we got from getting deported from Bangladesh? This lot. Can you believe that? That's shocking, that. Bless them. Two little canny lasses there on the left, and they're like, oh no, back to Afghanistan you go. Readings for losers. Shut up, you. Get out. Yeah, get out. The UK it's lost, isn't it? I've been saying for years, like, eventually it'll come back. But it's hard not to despair when you see that. The Pakistanis who are absolutely brimming with the milk of mighty Mo, right? The toppers with that. They love it. They have the same faith, the same culture, they love the same ideology, and they're deporting them all because they said, we're causing us a little bit of chew, but we'll take in 25 hairy, scary men. So that's ludicrous. Sean Atwood did a live with a guy that goes into why the government are allowing the boats and more. It seems valid. Oh, I told you, I'm a conspiracy theorist now. I've officially jumped on the conspiracy bandwagon. It's on purpose. It's on purpose. There is no way on God's green earth that it's down to incompetence. It's ridiculous. Tim, thanks for the super sticker. I can never see them on StreamYard for some reason. There's no way this is down to incompetence. This is malice. This is hatred for our culture and our way of life. They want it to go the same way as the dodo. But as I've told you, the white pill in the long term is that it ain't going to work. Because when they get to critical mass, when they get to about 20% of the population, they will start enacting this plan whereby all these independent, you've seen them, loads of them, independent party MPs, independent, flag wave for by the Independent and the Guardian and the like. When those independents are up to about 20% of the population, then they're going to band into one party, aren't they? And that one party is going to have a very different outlook to the rest of the world. It's one thing that's made me think, You know, a lot of the theory is that the open borders, which Merkel openly espoused, and the EU has always wanted, and the WHO and the UN, a lot of people have said that that's all goes back to the 4B2s. And one reason I've always thought it's not that simple, because it seems like they're all on board, like Gentile and 4B2 alike. They're all on board. Merkel and Macron and Starmer and Biden and Trudeau and Klaus and Guy Verhofstadt and Ursula. It's way more than just them. And one thing that I've thought that is because surely they must know, if they were causing the whole thing, surely they must know that when the European Union becomes Eurabia, then they have an enemy with nuclear weapons. Because, yeah, well, this is what I'm getting at, Carl, to whose benefit? So the theory is that the whole thing goes back to them, right? But my argument is, if you were doing a risk assessment, if you were an evil, devious, scheming resident of Israel, right? And you were thinking, I know what we'll do. We'll just send everyone to Europe because then we can have all of this. They must know that when France and Britain and Germany transform into nation states ruled with an iron fist by the adherents of the other theocracy, they must know that they're basically going to get wiped off the face of the earth. The French, a French, German, and British combination of armed forces would smash them, and they'd be straight over there. In fact, they would probably just nuke them, wouldn't they? Didn't the Iranians say they were going to do this for years? All right, okay, so that's the theory. End times. So they have got a lot in common, reach, really, haven't they? All of the three monotheisms, when you're sort of like boring agnostic like me, I guess you do notice that they're all a bit of a death cult in some way, aren't they? Like Billy Graham and Pat Buchanan and all them proper religious nutters. They used to love going on about the rapture when it all kicks off and everyone dies. We'd all get levitated up to heaven, and all the wankers will be left in Las Vegas. Like, I'll take Las Vegas. I quite like it there. They have all got that in common, haven't they? It is a bit. It seems a bit death culty to me. So maybe that's the end one. But that's what I'm saying. If they take over Europe, Europe is getting destroyed, but the governments are going to get replaced when all these independents band together by the most hostile group of people to the 4B2s on the planet. Like, even white anti-Semitic people, they don't have the hatred for them as the regulars at Allen's snack bar do. There's no way. They absolutely despise them. Like, even, I've talked about this before, even like burified Pakistani lads who aren't religious, who are all right lads, you know, even they are convinced that everything's caused by them, that the mortal foes, they want to wipe them off the face of the earth, definitely. So it's quite, I just don't see it. I don't think it's as simple as that, which is where I disagree with some of the online right, because I think they know they're done if Europe turns into when Europe turns into Eurabia, and then what'll happen is they'll still be outnumbered 4-1, and that's when Joe Normie. This is what I've told you, all right. The long-term prognosis is fine, but the short and medium term's terrible, and there'll be massive social trauma. It'll be like Northern Ireland during the height of the Troubles, but way worse. It's just going to happen. I've told you a lot. Again, I've said it how many times. It's the plot of Starship Troopers. That's what's going to happen. Heinlein, all the clever people, the reason people talk about them like Orwell and Huxley and Heinlein, the reason they become household names is because they were visionaries. They were clever men. And they knew what was coming. And what's coming is a combination of all three, isn't it? Because they're using the soft touch of drugs and conditioning and memory foam mattresses and entertainment, which Huxley talked about, combining it with the iron-shod boots and surveillance of the police state, which Orwell basically conceived it all of it. It's happening now. Like the government read it and said, yep, that's a good idea. And the third is Heinlein's vision is how it's going to get fixed. Definitely. That is what's going to happen. I'm convinced of it. And, well, that's what I'm saying, though, the visionaries. Visionary geniuses. And if you haven't read the book, an unexplained massive war kicks off. And all the veterans come home from the war after the West successfully wins it. Well, it's set in Buenos Aires. But it's basically Western culture, Western civilization. And then they come home and there's feral youths in the streets, no law and order, everyone's scared to go outside at night, total chaos, society's collapsed. So the veterans from the war, they take back control and they seize power. It's basically like a military coup. And then they sit down and go, oh yeah, we need to sort things out. And then they sort things out. And morons who haven't read the book think that the picture presented by the movie is fascistic. And it's not. It just isn't. It's almost like a meritocratic utopia. Because in their society, which is what I've been saying for ages, they need to have it so that you actually value your vote, so that you earn your vote, so that you feel like it's something that's precious to you. And they explain this in the book, right? It's not like you don't just have to go in the military. He says, like, even if you came in here like blind, deaf and disabled, we would find something awful for you to do. Awful. Might be chiseling Johnnies off the sewers for 2 years. Then you earn the franchise. That's what we should be doing now. If we did that, it would help. Like I said, I've even heard mainstream intellectuals talking about this now, saying, oh, you know, maybe some people who do spectacular things should have more votes than other people. No shit. No shit. Do you think the 16-year-old Iranian who's just wrapped a car around a copper's head, do you think he should get as many votes as you? Because I don't. Do you think some titan of British industry who's drove the sciences forward and provided 10,000 people with jobs, do you think he should get the same amount of votes as a bloke who was in the grooming gang? Because they're all allowed to vote. Do you? Do you think that? Do you think a nurse who serves in the NHS for 44 years and then retires, do you think she should get the same amount of votes as a bloke who ran an illegal vaping business and bounced on a 12-year-old shitbox above it with alarming frequency? Do you think they're worth the same? Because I'm not. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's read this story. I'm sure this will amuse us all no end. Pakistan has deported more than 20,000 Afghans this month. A month. So, okay, we now suck at everything. We even suck at administration because we can't deport 20,000 people in a month. But the Pakistanis, they're absolute gurus at it. Ninjas. I wish I would. I'll tell you what, I'll take one more Pakistani immigrant. One more. The immigration minister for Pakistan. Okay, give him a council house. And we're even willing to turf Mick Philpott out of his. Or one of his clones. Turf some white 25 children, 23 different mothers on the dole for 28 years. Turf some white bloke out of a council house. Give it to the Pakistani immigration minister. Get him over here. Get him, chop, make it happen. Make Pakistan great again. Yeah. Who's in charge? Pakistani Donald Trump. It would be funny if we find a picture of him and he's got like a daft blonde, like a daft wig on. And he's orange. We need to make Pakistan great again. Yeah, employ him. Get him over here. Anyway, among more than 80,000 who've left ahead of the April deadline, Pakistan has accelerated its drive to expel undocumented Afghans and those who had temporary permission to stay, saying it can no longer cope. You couldn't make it up, could you? They can't cope. They can't cope. Have you seen the size of Pakistan? I know from doing my Afghan tour and, you know, being vaguely aware of the borders, I think it's about half the size of Afghanistan. It's pretty big. Towards a new desk, fella. Cheers, Joe. Thanks very much for that. I'll need it. I'll need it after this story. So blokes with a country that's massive compared to England, right? They say they can't cope anymore. So they're deporting families. Couldn't make it up. Throwing them all out. Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishar Dar flew to Kabul for talks with the Taliban. Said he's got deep concern about the deportations. Some expelled Afghans at the border said they'd been born in Pakistan after the families fled conflict. But they can't take them in anymore. They said there's around 700,000 people came after the Taliban takeover, but the Pakistanis are ordering the Afghan asylum seekers out because they just haven't got the room. But you know who has got the room? A little old granny in the North Yorkshire Moors in a village with 400 people in it. She's got the room for 19,000 Afghan asylum seekers. Loads of bring them all in. Easy. Look at this one. I lived my whole life in Pakistan, said Saeed Rahman, a second-generation refugee born and raised in Pakistan. I got married there. What am I supposed to do now? Well, unlucky, mate. Unlucky. You were only born and raised there. Don't you understand? If an illegal immigrant gangbanger from El Salvador comes to America and Trump tries to deport him, that's fascism, right? That's how it works. Illegal immigrant gangbanger, murderer, killer, stone-cold, butcher of men, women and children. If Trump tries to deport him, the foreign man who entered illegally, that's fascism, right? If Priti Patel tries to deport a kiddie fiddler, fascism. But if Puma Tracky deports someone who was born and raised in Pakistan and he's second generation and he's got kids there, well, that's fine because they're just doing their democratic duty. They have a right to do that in Pakistan, okay? I'm doing my best Guardian reader voice. Just imagine I've got a purple hair and a metal piece of shite through my nose and an arse like the back end of a bus, and I'll do my Guardian reader impression. Actually, Pakistan's like a sovereign nation, so they have no obligation under international law. They can deport people that were born there. Actually, that's totally fine. But you're a Nazi if you want to deport someone who bummed an 8-year-old in a kebab shop. Yeah, it makes loads of sense. The world makes loads of sense now, doesn't it? What do you need me to say anything? Just read it. It makes perfect sense. I want to be pilot. I don't even understand that one, mate. That's gone over my head. Apologies. So yeah, that's class, that, innit? I love it. Absolutely love that. Saleh's got 3 daughters. 3 daughters. Unlucky. He's worried what life under the Taliban's going to mean for them. Well, I'll tell you what's going to mean for them. Bin liner over their head. Staple it on. Not allowed to read all right. And married to a 74-year-old man who'll diddle her 7 days a week. Brilliant. In between jizzing all over the crusty goat outside his house. So, yeah, unlucky. Unlucky. I'll tell you what. Here's a plan. Why don't we just bring them all to Wales? No, in fact, send them to Scotland. I've got a chip on my shoulder about this, right? I think I made a video about this 3 or 4 years ago. England spent 12 years, 13, voting for Conservative. They got David Cameron, Conservative. They might not have been Conservative, but the letters on the ballot page said Conservative. The English voted for Conservative for 13 years and got millions and millions of immigrants when they specifically said they didn't want any more. And the SNP voted, in Scotland, they voted for the communist SNP who were pro-open borders. Why are we not within our rights to send every single one of them to Scotland? I never understood that. If all the English people have said we definitely don't want any more immigrants, and the Scottish were saying, no, we love them, we're pro-open borders, Why couldn't we ditch them all in Scotland? And then Wales started voting for Plaid Cymru. Ditch them all in Wales. Like, I don't understand why England got the lion's share of them when for 13 years we were voting Conservative. So, no, that's annoying. That's annoying. England votes more sensibly than Wales and Scotland. If you're one of the viewers that's Welsh and Scottish and based, well done to you for being sensible. But democracy works that way. And England was voting Conservative on a slower immigration platform when the Welsh and the Jocks were voting for the SNP. But they do, Craig, but they do. Because you keep voting SNP, don't you? And they've said they want open borders. So you do want them, or the majority of people there want them. Obviously you don't, because you're sensible. But you know what I'm saying? According to the polls, we would have been within our rights to just send them all. If I was in like Middlesbrough or Hartlepool or Stockton-on-Tees, I'd have just said, well, I'll tell you what, we voted Conservative and we said we didn't want any more immigrants. And you lads in the SNP said you wanted open borders. So here's 50,000 hairy-arse geezers. Cheers, lads. That's what I'd have done. Anyway. What else have we got? This has started depressing me now. I'll just finish it though, and then I'm going to bugger off. I want my children to study. I don't want their years in school to go to waste. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Trust me, it's going to go to waste. Everyone has the right to it. No, they don't. No, they don't. Another man told the BBC our children have never seen Afghanistan. I don't even know what it looks like. It might take us a year or more to settle in and find work. We feel helpless. Look at the kids as well. Unbelievable. That's who's getting ejected from Pakistan. And we take boatfuls of meathead blokes. Angry, pissed off blokes with big floppy choppers. You couldn't make it up. Couldn't make it up. At the border, a man and woman passed through separate gates under the watch of armed Pakistani and Afghan guards. One man's on a stretcher, another in a bed. See you later. They're all getting through out, and they all get 41 to 104 quid. Well, again, we give them 10 grand, don't we? Like, Diane Abacus is in charge of the purse strings, and she can't do basic maths. So she didn't think maybe you can give them less money because they're from a third world country where everybody's skinned. We just go, 10 grand. Will that do you, son? And they're like, cheers then. They go home, give half of it to the family, and then pay another 5 to a people trafficker, and he brings them straight back. That's how sensible it is in the UK. Unbelievable. So, blah, 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 yeah. Anyway, are we done? Are we done? One dead after protest over KFC. Have you noticed how they can't protest peacefully as well? In nations which are inhabited by the regulars at Alan's Snack Bar, it is physically beyond them to peacefully protest. They just feel like they have to kill someone. The world's gone mad. The world's gone mad. And I haven't even covered all the stuff in America, which is they arrested some lad because he pulled a knife out at a track meeting. Why was he even carrying? And stabbed a bloke to death. But because he's black, the family have been going on the telly all week saying, oh, he's the victim of bigotry. And they've got a fundraiser for him. And they're all slagging off the family who got the son killed. Because the woke psychopaths are running the world. And up is down and left is right, and they're on the wrong side of every single issue. They'll deport little girls, no problem. They'll go to bat for an MS-13 gangbanger, no problem. They'll lionise someone for taking a knife to a bloody social event and murdering someone in cold blood. But they'll slam someone like Rittenhouse, who was clearly getting assailed by numerous gunmen. They're on the wrong side of every single issue. And he was, again, another clever man. Mr. Adams, I watch his podcast quite frequently. Clever bloke. He called it years ago. So, yeah, the world's knackered. It's gone completely topsy-turvy. Hairy-ass blokes are more welcome in the UK than little girls. And the Pakistanis are allowed to deport people, but you aren't. You're not allowed. Oh, international law, human rights. Technically, actually, UN convention. That's all they do. Shite. Legalese. Actually, when there's a law suits them, they go, technically, actually, legal convention, international agreements. But when it doesn't, see you later, deep six the international agreement. It's ludicrous. Whole thing's ludicrous. The world's gone mad. Welcome to the clown show. All right, I'm going to call it early today because my mother-in-law's here, and unlike most men, I actually like mine. So we're going to go for a walk. Okay, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for your continued support. Hopefully, we'll get this channel to 100,000 subscribers this year. That's the plan, even though Neil has been conquer deep in my dirt box since he took the role from the last shrieking harpy who runs the infernal platform that we all go on, known as YouTube. All right, thanks to everyone for watching. I'll see you all very soon. Keep your chins up, because if nothing else, it's still pretty funny that the world is this mental. All right, thanks everyone. Toodle pip. Cheers.